Okay.
This conference will now be recorded.
Oh, Sri Khan is here.
I'd like to call to order this February 27th Chesterfield Township Committee. I'll start with a flag salute and a moment of silence, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Karen, if you could please call the roll and give us our
Sure. Ms. Botch.
sunshine statement.
Yep. Ms. Batra?
Here.
Ms. Hughes?
Here.
Ms. Codestale?
Here.
Mr. Litt?
Here.
Mr. Dopty is
Here.
virtually. Pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting has been given by filing written notice with the township governing body and the township clerk, mailing written notice to the township's official newspapers and the township website, posting written notice on the official bulletin board in the Chesterfield Township Municipal Building, and providing notice to all who have requested same.
Thank you, Karen. I'd like to take a motion to approve the minutes for the February 13th meeting.
Move it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Take a motion to open for public comments to matters on the agenda only. And just to remind everyone that you'll be given 3 minutes to speak. And please give us your name and address. Do we have anyone that would like to? Oh, I need to make a motion to take a vote.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Go ahead, Dawn.
On Donahue, 79 Bordentown, Chesterfield Road. It's in regards to number 6, ordinance 2025-4. Mailbox. We're back at this again. Listen, when you buy a home, there's certain responsibilities that you have as a homeowner. I'm a therapy dog handler. Most of you know it. I teach the kids that they have to accept their responsibilities for their actions. My biggest issue is, I've said this before, I don't know how many times, this is probably going on 12 years now. We put a board up in front of our mailbox to prevent any sort of damage to it. And we are going strong 12 years with not having any damage done to the mailboxes for that simple board, taking it down in this, spring and summer. But again, at some point, I know I talked to Matt about this. I know the county does it, but the county has a bigger budget than we do. There are only 2 cities in the state, Rockaway Township and Washington Township, that do this. When I called and spoke to one of them today, Washington, they said that once they replace it once, it's done and over with. It's now their responsibility to do it. So I think if that's not in the ordinance, you guys have to do something, because it's not going to stop. And at some point, where is the budget for this? At some point, where is the budget for it? And I've heard from some people, I know myself included, we're on a county road. This doesn't even apply to us. It's I get it. But again, there's things that you take responsibility for. And I feel like it's at some point, you guys as the township committee have to make the hard decisions and say, enough is enough. You have to do it. It says here, sidewalks. At what point are you guys going to go out, or somebody, and start finding those people? There's a lady with sidewalks lifted above her thing, about that much. She spray painted green, kind of to warn you. Are you kidding me? And that's walking from the school. Kids walk that all the time. It's a hazard. So it's not like it's in where you got, it's in front of their houses. So I'm just saying, it's listen, I get it, but I know Matt can say we had this conversation. The county has a huge budget. We don't. And at some point, when everybody, how many houses are there in the new development or on the town's roads? Multiply that by $75. And what if that's every 2 years? Do we really have that? I mean, at some point we have to cut certain things, or we are going to be, I hate to say it, we're going to be cutting some major services. And I don't want to see that happen. I would rather have my police officers, my fire department, my EMTs, than somebody to get their mailbox replaced. I'm sorry. I've said it before. I'll do a workshop. Let me know what date, time. I will show people how to do it. It's very simple. It takes me 5 minutes to put that board up, 5 minutes to take it down. And it's cost me over 12 years, $35. Now it's probably 50 because the wood has gone up. But again, to do that in 12 years, I don't see that being a thing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tom.
Do you have anyone else in the building that would like to make a public comment? Do we have anyone online, Karen?
Nope.
Seeing none, I'll take a motion to close public comment.
Motion.
Second? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay, our first ordinance tonight is ordinance 2025-03, an ordinance amending, revising, and supplementing the code with the addition of Chapter 4 Advisory Committees and Committees, Article 4 entitled Budget Advisory Committee. We talked about this at the last meeting, and I would like to thank George for getting on this, and really, we've had the Budget Advisory Committee for quite a few years, and I think it's great that we're finally getting it kind of codified. And so I'll take a motion to introduce this.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And
Aye.
when should the public hearing be, Karen?
March 13th. Is that our next meeting?
Yes.
Same dates as.
Okay. Ordinance 2025-4, an ordinance amending, revising, and supplementing Chapter 170 entitled Streets and Sidewalks of the Township Code with the addition of Article 7 entitled Mailbox Damage Due to Snow Plowing.
I do like Dawn's suggestion that we would only do it one time per resident. I
Is-
think that's a valid.
Yeah, no.
I think
is that
that's-
in the
yeah.
ordinance?
No.
Can
But-
we,
But
yeah.
this is only if we hit their mailbox.
Yes.
So this is, we're at fault. It's not if it gets knocked down
Right.
because of snow.
Except that I do think there are some mailboxes that are encroaching on the curb where they maybe
Well, it
shouldn't
says in
be.
there that if they're deemed to be,
Then it won't be
then
covered.
they're not
Then it's
covered.
not-
They have to
Right.
be within the ordinances
It
specific.
really was going to have to be our fault. And if
Yeah.
our snowplower keeps hitting mailboxes over and over again, then that's an issue.
Yeah, like I said last time, could we just stop hitting?
Well,
How often, I think I asked this
Very.
question, but a little bit
Not very.
differently last time, but
Doesn't
no,
happen
George
very
told
often.
us last meeting.
but I think that was including those that were encroaching on the curb. How many are we hitting that are not encroaching on the curb? Do we know the answer to that? Because this might be a moot point. Maybe we're never hitting the ones that are where they're supposed to be.
I know of one personally that it definitely was too close to the roadway.
Yeah.
But without something, honestly, without something codified that lays out the ground rules, I can't tell Troy, make up the rules as you go. 'Cause
No.
that person, I'm sure, would have pushed back. But when you go out and you look, like it was in Old York Village, I rode through there yesterday and I took note, they are right to the curb line or beyond. I mean, that's the way they were installed. And I assume by the developer. But you'll see, there's very little setback, if any, on the majority of those. The strip is only, maybe 2.5 feet wide. So they're centered. People center it.
But under our, if they're too close, then we don't cover them.
Correct.
What's the township been doing up to this point? Do you know? Have we replaced?
They've been
any?
replacing them, yeah.
Just.
There haven't been,
I don't know if they've been doing,
there haven't been very many. There
I
really
don't know
haven't.
for the weather events we've had, I'm going to guess high, maybe 4 or 5. I don't know.
Yeah. The majority of ones we get are usually from the snow hitting it, and it's the residents' belief that we're hitting it. And you can definitely tell if we hit a mailbox compared to the snow pushing it off.
And that's excluded from this policy.
Correct.
So
But that's the majority of the issues.
have we been rejecting claims because it was too close to the curb?
I'm not aware of any.
I don't know that we've had any that well, I would think that if we were at fault, then we probably have replaced them in the past.
Irrespective of where they're
Exactly.
on the curb line. So it almost seems like this ordinance then would save us money, because if it's now codifying the fact that we're not paying for them when they're on the curb line, we're actually paying for
Yeah,
less.
we're giving people notice that if you're concerned about this, you need to move your mailbox back
Yeah.
or take a chance. Whereas now, we're either paying them or we just don't have anything that's specific.
I would love to, and it's obviously, I mean, it's not, doesn't have to be the top of the list, but I would love to publicize this to the residents, because I mean, if you told me, I have no idea where my mailbox is compared to where it's supposed to be. I'm sure nobody does. So maybe just put residents on notice that that is an issue, that we have this new ordinance, and I don't know, let's just set everyone's expectations appropriately.
Yeah.
It did go on the website.
We put it on the website, and I chose not to put it out on Facebook, quite frankly. this might go to Ms. Donahue's point, I didn't want to encourage people to think, well, here's an opportunity, but we made it, it's there, it's retrievable on our website, but
I don't think that helps.
didn't really want to.
Yeah.
No,
Putting
I
it
think
on
that
the,
we should educate that if your mailbox is hanging over, hey, you might want to take this time to move it to an appropriate place so that it's not going to get hit. And if it does get hit, then you'll be eligible for this reimbursement.
Yeah.
but the issue of the mailbox and sidewalk, again, these have been problems, and I guess we have to educate the residents. We have to find a better way to do it, because putting on the website, not everybody goes to the website and checks it. So we have to find, I guess,
Mhm.
another way to do it somehow.
Well, we do have the email blast. I mean,
There's not
Facebook-
many that signed
No,
up.
I know, but Facebook also is, it's
Going
like,
downhill.
it's not as many people are on it, and people will tell me they saw stuff on Facebook that I didn't see, and until I search
Yeah.
for it. So we don't have a good way of communicating,
We
unfortunately.
need to, once we get through the budget season, I think we need to focus on that.
Yes, I want to focus on that.
Get more people signed up and do a lot of advocacy on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, do we want to take a motion to introduce this? Because we cannot,
Yeah.
we cannot adopt it if, when we have the public hearing,
I'm comfortable in introducing.
or do we want to amend it to say one time only? Can we do that tonight, George, and adopt it with that understanding, correct, Dominic?
Well, you're
We're just gonna
introducing it,
add
but
that.
I can, if that's how you want to introduce it with that amendment, then we can amend it before the public hearing.
Do we want to do that?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I'll take a motion to introduce ordinance 2025-04 with the amended one time
Motion.
only. Second?
Second.
Or-
Aye.
And that would be March 13th as well, Karen?
Correct.
Okay.
And so that's with the one time only.
Yeah.
Ordinance for public hearing and adoption, ordinance 2025-02, an ordinance amending and supplementing Chapter 110 of the Code of Chesterfield Township entitled Fees. I'll take a motion to open the public hearing on this ordinance. Have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Do we have anyone that would like to make any comments about this ordinance? Do we have anyone online?
No.
Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. I'll take a motion to adopt ordinance 20.
Questions?
Okay, go ahead.
Just as the construction code official is here,
Yes,
we
I
have
know.
any?
Hi, how are you?
Just in
Um,
case.
So I asked George, I know he sent it and I looked it up before that, but I have the administrative code in front of me. Are we in this NJEPPRS?
No, that's the state program that they're coming out with.
Okay, so if we were in that program, then these fees would go to the department, but since we're not, the fees would be going to us.
Correct.
Okay. I spoke about it last time. I have concerns that we are just implementing this fee on our residents. But I've already spoken about that. So I just want to speak a little bit about the way that the ordinance is drafted, because I think that it's problematic. The administrative code is not the same as statute. It's put out by state departments and it's updated. I think it's every 5 years that they update this code. So my concern with this ordinance is that we are just saying that we are going to adopt the fees in NJAC 5:23-4-22. But if this administrative code is updated in, I don't know when this came out, 2024, I think, so in 4 more years, and this section is deleted or it's moved or the fee is quadrupled or, changed, then we are automatically going to be operating with whatever that change is, even if it's a different reg. So even if, I know I'm going to be a no vote on this because I don't think that we should be implementing this fee on our residents. I don't think it's the right thing to do. But even if everybody else on the committee does want to do that, I think that we should revise this ordinance to be a better policy rather than just going along with whatever this NJAC is at the time.
And I'm not sure who to ask this question of, but can someone remind me what the fee then, based on this ordinance, the fee is going from what to what?
It would be an additional fee on a permit, $1 per 1,000. So
So the fee now is what?
It depends on the cost of the work.
But how much is it per thousand now?
This isn't,
It's a new fee.
So it's going from 0 per thousand to $1 per thousand?
for this fee, the permit fee is separate.
Right.
And
Right.
that's based off the cost of the work. I don't know exactly, it's a 0.034 per thousand or something. I'm just guessing that off the top of my head because I don't have the correct answer.
Mhm.
So in the code, what we'd be going to, so the minimum permit surcharge fee is $2, but the fee can be in the amount of $1 per $1,000 of value of construction. And there is, I mean, there's 6 things that it, or 5 things that it wouldn't be on. You know, it's not going to be collected for work consequential to a natural disaster, et cetera, et cetera. I know everyone has this.
Yeah, we got that from him.
And this isn't on every permit. Hot water heaters and heaters wouldn't be included. It's for new construction.
It's only for new
New
construction.
construction.
Yeah, to me, I
Oh,
feel like.
yeah.
It's
new
not every permit.
construction, I mean, we're paying a lot for them to go out. I think to add that fee to the permit, to me, is justified, quite honestly.
So who's paying that money? Is it the initial homeowner or it's the builder?
Either or, whoever pays for the permit. Some homeowners have the builder, it's built into their cost of their job, or the homeowner pays it.
Ultimately, the homeowner pays.
Right, I guess so, yeah. Okay.
I don't. Well,
Yeah, I mean, I'm comfortable with it as far as it's
okay.
limited
Well,
to new
let's-
construction.
Do we have a motion to adopt the ordinance?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? And did Sri vote?
Yes.
Yes.
It count as a yes.
Okay.
Okay. So all in favor, except,
We didn't do public hearing on that, did we?
no, did we do public?
We did. but
Yeah, we
didn't-
did.
Yeah, we did.
Oh, you're right, I'm sorry.
Yes. No, that's okay.
Like, close that?
No, it's better.
It must
to
be,
track.
wait, that's on the other page.
No, you're right.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
There's
So
no-
Thank you.
we'll move along to the
Thank you for coming.
resolutions. Yes, thank you. So we have resolution 2025-2-12, awarding the contract for the sewer system operation and maintenance services. Does we have any questions or comments from the committee about that resolution? If not, I'll take a motion to adopt the resolution.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 Resolution 2025-2-13, authorizing contract award for groundkeeping service for on-site landscape management. Does anybody on the committee have any questions about this contract? If not, I'll entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
I just want to clarify just for the public, that this is a contract we're already a party to, correct?
Right.
We're not entering into a new contract here. We're just affirming the existing
We're
contract.
just, yes,
You're
we're just
We're
last year of
extending it
the
for the
3 years.
last
I just want to make that. clear.
Yeah, that's good, Matt. I'll take a motion to adopt the ordinance.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And then we have the 2025-2-14, a resolution recognizing Arbor Day celebration for 2024. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
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 The bill list, I have a motion to accept the bill list as presented by the CFO.
Motion.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, reports and discussions, liaisons. I did want to, I think I mentioned this prior meeting, but the Chesterfield Alliance Against Substance Abuse has the first Music in the Square activity will be on April 17th in Village Square Park. And Rachel, remind me, what's his name? Patrick Leary? Patrick King.
Saved the day for the Harvest Festival
Yes.
last year.
So he's going to be
He's a
joining
junior
us.
at high school at Northern. Only a junior.
Yes. So he's going to
Really
be
good.
presenting that night. And then they're also on April 13th, Hidden in Plain Sight, which is a program for parents on how children, teenagers and preteens can hide vapes and all kinds of things from their parents. So it's the chair of the committee, Janice and I went down to the Burlington County and saw this presentation done in person, and it's really pretty eye-opening. So I'm hoping we can really present that. We're doing it here. We're not expecting a huge crowd, but I think it'll be really helpful for parents. So I'd like to make that known. Does anybody else have any
Yeah,
information?
from the Shade Tree Advisory Board meeting, I just want to report there were a few questions. One was about the tree tenders program. So they've applied for the Sustainable NJ grant for that. They wanted to know if it would be a part of the Shade Tree Advisory Board because the staff doesn't have a budget of its own. So that was something they wanted to clarify. Would that be under the staff or would it just be? Not sure.
That's a question we'll have to ask Wendy, so we can get that answered.
Okay. And then I think maybe Dominic can answer this question because they're going to have the tree tenders would have volunteers and homeowners, who would, I guess, when they're planting trees, they would be using tools and there'll be physical labor involved. So I guess they would need some kind of a waiver or liability form.
Yeah, that would be my recommendation. I think they should be signing something before they do something like that. That's going to be on our property.
Yes. Yes. So they would need that, right?
And if you need me to put something together, I don't know if we already have something on file for other activities that we do, but if not, I could put something.
Sure, that'll be really helpful. And then one more thing. So actually a couple of the Shade Tree Advisory Board members wanted to look at the Dream Home Developers Plan. I know Planning Board approved it already, but they didn't get to see the larger plan. And there were some comments about the choice of trees, because like we've had issues with the roots uplifting the crosswalks, the sidewalks, and they feel that one Shade Tree Advisory Board member in particular, he came in to look at the larger plan, and he really thinks that we should just kind of look at the choice of the trees again, because that may be an issue with the kind of trees. They can grow really big in the small space that we have in between the
Joe,
homes and the.
you would know when it was negotiated with them, was it specific as to the type of tree, or could the shade tree work with them around?
Typically, any of the approvals have a condition in there that they work them out with, like the final tree selection between the planner and I would imagine she would take input from the Shade Tree Advisory.
Yeah, she has in the
Yeah.
past. So Leah's here, so maybe you suggest to them that they get in touch with
I'd
Leah.
have to look at the actual approval resolution too, so.
Yeah,
I mean,
because she's,
Good evening. So what's on file now is the plan that they came to the board with. I don't think they submitted, which one are we talking about, Bentley?
Dream Home Developers.
They didn't submit their final plans yet. So there were agreements like that they would comply with certain comments, including the Shade Trees
Right.
Commission's comments. So
They
the
were
plan
submitted-
that's on file now doesn't include the comments that they did agree to comply with. So
this
I
was-
had the Shade Tree Commission's report and I asked them to comply with it. And in terms of the sidewalks, the policies changed. All the trees are going to be inside the sidewalks in a shade tree easement now, so that won't be a problem anymore.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Thanks.
I think the answer is that'll be addressed as the plan revisions come through. And if they have anything else to add besides what was in their initial memo, they should provide us with a supplemental memo,
Mhm.
and we can make sure it's.
Yes, I'll let them know.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay.
does anyone else? Any liaison reports?
Yeah, just for the Environmental Commission, our regular meeting this past month was canceled, but we met last Saturday and just did a walk in the woods in Old York Village looking and educating, I think mostly me, because I think the rest of the committee probably already knew, but educating on what to look for beavers to know if they're active so that we can get ready for if they come this spring to get ahead of the game. So it was super interesting. We saw some old beaver damage, so I know what I'm looking for, where you can actually see that the beaver chewed the tree in half. So that's what's
Great,
going on there.
thanks, Rebecca. Okay, moving right along. I'm going to turn this over for number B, George, to you. The planner proposal for cross acceptance.
Okay, and Leah can come up. This is about your proposal, Leah, for the cross acceptance. And the state has an effort underway for development and redevelopment plans. The state has its own plan, and the cross acceptance, Leah can explain further, is basically a meeting of any other entities whose plans may come into conflict with the state's plan. And the acceptance, if I'm saying this correctly, is it could actually be a negotiating process whereby the state level and the local or county levels meet and basically come to terms with the differences and work those out. You can speak further if you like, Leah.
I think that was a good overview, but the state plan that's in effect now was adopted in 2001. And at that time, the State Planning Act says that every 3 years, the state would go through this cross-acceptance process, which basically is a process of ensuring that the state plan that comes from, the State Planning Commission, prepared by the Office of State Planning, although their name has changed, I think now it's the Office of Planning Advocacy, that they're both, they get all the other significant departments on board. So DEP, DOT, Department of Agriculture, like they all review the plan so that it's not everyone's in their silo and it's all interconnected as planning should be. And then it's also the different levels of regulatory entities, the state, the counties, Highlands Commission, and the municipalities. And they go through this cross-acceptance process to make sure everyone's sort of on the same page. The every 3 years just fell apart immediately. It was too much of an administrative and logistical burden. And then the process kind of unraveled. So we still have the 2001 state plan being the operative state plan. And there's a new draft that was put out in December. So that kicked off this new cross-acceptance. They've tried to simplify the process. But the idea is that all these other entities should review the plan, and then they call it negotiating, where you can provide feedback and make sure that the state plan has taken your local concerns into consideration. I think this is a worthwhile process because ideally we should be able to rely on the state plan as backup for the town's land use policies. And so that's why it's critical, especially in a unique town like Chesterfield, that the state plan reflects the local and regional, meaning the county policies for the area. So I put together this proposal to kind of outline, what our role in participating in this would be. It's a little unknown because, you kind of never know what it's going to take, but, the idea would be just to enable me to participate in the process, communicate between all of you and the planning board and the negotiating entity, which is the county.
I believe you all got a copy of the proposal. There's a not to exceed of 4,300. And as Leah said, it may be considerably less than that, just depends on how the process goes. But if you get your approval tonight. Also, Leah made a recommendation about creating a negotiating committee to function during this process. And I don't know if the committee would want to see the different people recommended. Some of them aren't named individually, but different committees that should be represented, the Ag Board, the Environmental Commission, and also an additional township committee member. So I don't know, when the mayor gets back, you want to have a workshop discussion and make
I
a
would
decision?
recommend the shade tree also be involved.
Okay. Just shade tree you mentioned there?
You said environmental commission and who else?
Right. We had mentioned Ag Board, someone from Environmental Commission,
One from
one additional committee member, the mayor.
And you think somebody from the planning board should be on that?
Yeah, I wish so. Here, I think this committee would only need to meet a couple times and
Yeah.
probably on Zoom, maybe in person once. But the idea would be, if I'm going to be having these, George and I may be having discussions with the county, potentially the state, we would want to have feedback through you guys. So I was thinking the mayor and maybe one more committee person, Mike Nye, planning board chair, someone from the Ag Board, Environmental Commission, Shade Tree, Glenn. Yep. So that way we have kind of all the bases covered. And
I
then,
think that's a good idea.
yeah. And then once you have the committee formed, I'll email everyone and we'll just kind of be informal, but But there's something called a cross acceptance response template. So the county, through the state, through the county, is providing this. I think it's a Google form is the way they're doing it, but it's like a pretty substantial document where they're asking for feedback and links to your master plan and things like that. And they do want to know who. I noticed just yesterday they asked if there's a committee, so they're interested in knowing who it is.
So George, maybe you could reach out to Mike Nye and then the EC and the Shade Tree and just ask if they would be
Do you
willing.
prefer the boards,
interested.
they select their members to represent?
No, I mean, just reach out to them and ask them to select someone.
Okay.
Yeah. Hmm.
I didn't know if you wanted to make the selection, but that's,
I think we could
Yep.
trust them to decide who amongst their membership is the best person.
will do.
Thank you, Leah. Moving right along.
I think Deputy Mayor, I would recommend you take a motion.
Oh, okay.
Just to formalize Leah's proposal, accept that,
Okay.
and then also just to create the negotiating committee.
Okay, I'll take a motion as worded by Dominic to create the committee and the nominating process. So do I have a motion? Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Dominic.
Need a motion then to also accept Leah's proposal.
And to accept Leah's proposal. So I have a motion to accept Leah's proposal as presented.
Motion.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you. Moving right along, I just had one question because it's not specifically on here, but you had sent us a memo about somebody who wanted to use Fenton Lane Park for their daughter's wedding for parking.
You want to do that now?
It's not on the agenda, so I wanted to bring it up.
Yeah, I am prepared to discuss it. I was going to.
Okay, that's under yours. Okay.
Was it the Fenton Lane Park or the Charlotte Rogers Park? I thought.
Charlotte Rogers. I'm sorry. Yeah, I have the wrong one. Okay, if that's under yours, I'll turn it over to you then, George, and you can bring up whatever
Okay.
you'd like to discuss.
So as the deputy mayor mentioned, and I believe I sent this out to all of you, through Rachel's office, we got a request from a homeowner on Davenport, Mr. Townsend, who lives at 138. He's going to have a backyard wedding on September 20th, and they're having a reception there at the home, and they're expecting approximately 60 to 70 cars for the reception. He's requesting permission, and I told him I would bring this before you to utilize the Charlotte Rogers parking lot. And it would be, I guess it's the larger lot that sits where originally the 9/11 Memorial was going to go. It's that portion of the parking lot would be the most accessible from his home. He wants permission to utilize it for the reception. I did talk to Rachel. She doesn't foresee any conflict with any games. She said they would all be over by that time if they occurred that date. My one concern, well, there's a couple, but the one is the fact that this is going to go on until about 10 p.m. There is no lighting in the parking lot, so that is a concern. However, our ordinance does provide for the committee to make exceptions to the hours of operation for the park, because according to our ordinance, no person or vehicle shall be present in the park 1 hour after sunset and thereon. So obviously this would surpass that. My recommendation, if you see fit to allow the resident, is to get some certificate of insurance from him in the event there's a slip and fall, somebody trips. I'll leave that to the attorneys in the room, but I think we would definitely have to protect ourselves. There are some risks with the after hours and folks walking through.
That's a gravel parking lot too.
Right, and also where the house is located, I think we can assume that there will be some foot traffic through the ball fields as well. So if there are holes in the field, if there are depressions, again, there would be a risk.
Well, there's a walking trail, so
It's
I
not
don't know if
connected
we
to that.
can.
I mean, they can, but
Yeah,
where
it's-
the back of the property is
I
going
know
to be.
it's quicker to just walk through, but we could always, I don't know if that, I was just going to say, if we could say to them, you know,
You still have to
within
get
some
there.
sort of it, that people have to use it. And if they don't, we've told them they have to. I don't know. I'll leave that up to,
As long as we have the certificate of insurance, I mean, I feel like it's right.
does it cover us?
we'd have to be named and sure.
Oh, yeah, we had to be additional insured, and it's got to be a decent sized policy too, because it's a lot of people we're talking about here. So, I mean, I'm still, Mr. Concern, I'm very reluctant. Just thinking about, it's dark, like you're saying, and you're going, but
Alcohol will be involved, presumably.
you can do it. Absolutely, certificate of insurance, 100%. But
What's the, I mean, I want to figure out a way to do it. It's a wedding, it's wonderful. But let's just play devil's advocate for a second. What's the alternative? What if we decline?
They would have to park on the public street or get permission from someone else. I don't know if there's,
I can't even picture where they would park on the street.
They'd have to just park up and down Davenport Drive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not great either.
Yeah, which would be a hardship probably for the neighbors if they had enough people that,
Yeah, that's not great.
well, if they, I mean, then it's on them whether they want to pay for that. I don't know what a certificate of, it's been a long time since I was on a,
Shouldn't be that much for a single day policy.
Yeah,
It shouldn't
I
be
don't
that much.
but could you put it in there that it's also that they would have to use like the walking trail? I don't know if or that's too specific.
I don't know how you're going to get somebody to agree on behalf of like
No,
everybody else.
that's true.
It's just very difficult for that to really work itself out that way.
So we just leave it with the certificate of insurance.
Right.
Do we have any existing policies, I guess, governing the use of, public parks by residents and just to,
Well,
for
normally they
future?
have to abide by, the hours and that kind of thing. I can't think that we have like real strict, I mean, I can't remember.
We've never
what they
had
are.
anyone ask just for the parking.
Yeah, just
Okay.
for the
Per se.
parking.
And I don't know how many cars could actually even park there.
Not 70.
No way 70.
No, but he's probably thinking just
Right.
to have a good
An
chunk
overflow.
there and then that.
I will tell you,
yes.
I didn't
Neighbor.
catch this part earlier. Persons who are walking through the park on designated walkways are excluded from the closing hour designation. So if we insist that they use a walkway, maybe that gives us some cover. Obviously,
From
the
what?
parking lot's the parking lot, but if we tell them to abide by this and use either a public sidewalk or the park walkway itself, maybe that gives some type of,
Walkway's not lit either, so.
what's that? I'm sorry.
Walkway's not
Yeah,
lit.
that's not so
So-
odd. I don't love that being in there either. That might be something we should do.
So what do we think? Do we want to say, yes, we'll allow it as long as they get the certificate of insurance?
I would say so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why don't we take a motion on that?
Move it.
Second,
Second.
all in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. George, what, do you have other stuff for us?
That's all I had. Rest is for closed.
Does anybody on the committee have anything they'd like to
I just
share?
have a quick thing. With Marjoram Road being paved, I've heard from a couple residents that there is a desire to lower the speed limit. I don't know, that's probably more of a question for you, Joe. I don't know anything about it, if it's possible, if there's any way we can determine if it's useful or realistic, but I just have heard from residents that that's what they would like, so.
Why don't we wait and see what the situation is once the road is widened? Because, now it's very scary because it's such a narrow road that if people are going even slightly over, it's sort of like what we have in Crosswicks where you're standing on the sidewalk and somebody goes by at 25 and it feels like they're speeding because they're whereas if you're in a wider.
Yeah, I just
mean,
want
I
to
don't
take
wanna-
the residents' concerns
yeah.
seriously.
No,
so
I think we always
wanna
have
bring
to
'em up.
take concerns about speed seriously. Thanks, Rebecca.
I have something briefly. So the CTAA came to me with an idea for a community-wide kickball game. They're getting the school involved. It'll be a fundraiser for them. It'll be a fun day for the town. And they wanted to know, they wanted the township to be involved. I told them I wasn't exactly sure what that looked like, but I would bring it to this body. And I don't really have a vision for it right now, but I would love for us to get involved in some way. I just thought I'd throw it out there and maybe we can have
Yeah,
more of a
maybe they
discussion in the
could
next
give
couple
us-
weeks.
Yeah, we could have a discussion at the next meeting, but maybe they could give us some suggestions since they know more what they're thinking. of what they would like, how they would like see us to be involved.
I think mostly probably just from a publicity standpoint to get different groups of people. Like they have the CTAA, and then the school get the school people involved, and I guess the township can maybe get a different kind of circle involved.
Get all our boards and committees, form a team.
Yeah, it's a really cool idea, and
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. It sounds like a lot of fun.
yeah, and at the end of the day, the more money the CTAA raises, it's money saved by the residents who use that service, which is
Yeah. Well,
Which is
it's
great.
also a great way to bring the community together.
yeah,
you
totally,
know,
totally.
To different community groups could form a group. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that idea. Thanks, Matt. Anybody else? Seeing none, I'll make a motion to open for public comment. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Do we have anyone that would like to make a comment at this time?
That fast 3 times.
Really?
Dawn Donahue, 79 Bourne Chesterfield Road, round 2. So, and I was talking to Matt about this, but when you send a message to the committee, an email, you get an automated response, but you get nothing from you guys. So I get we get the automated, that means it's gone, but in the eyes of us, we don't know if you guys get it, if you saw it, if you read it, you ignored it. Like at the end of the day, not hearing anything, the silence is speaking volumes to me. So I had said to Matt that maybe like 1 week, a different committee member could take the opportunity to respond and just say, thank you so much for bringing that to our attention, just to kind of reaffirm. Because when you don't hear anything, you don't know if you get it. Because we're not, we don't have access to your emails. We're not in your minds. Like we get the automated, but, I don't know if you guys got it, if you get into your email. And like I said, I did say to Matt, when Tom was here, he kind of would respond for you guys, but now we don't have that. So again, I don't know, something, I guess, needs to be
Dawn,
done.
and this is something I'd like to discuss at another meeting, but I want to throw this out for people to think about.
You want to do this after the public comment?
Are you finished? Oh, well, yeah.
Why
All right,
not?
I'll
Why
wait till
the-
after.
I guess, right? Yeah.
yeah, why don't we?
She's saying wait till
Well,
everybody.
I'm just
can make
saying,
comments and-
Or-
to finish all the public comments and then we'll come back and the township committee can address any of the
Okay.
concerns. Just
All right.
have it run smoother.
Also, so whoever did go, Chesterfield School did have a fundraiser. I know Matt was there, and some other people from the town and everything. I know they are planning to do another one. I will keep you guys informed of that if you want to go. It was at Gervasio's. They did phenomenal with it. Patron made a guest appearance. But, again, I'll keep you guys informed. But, anybody that did attend that I did not see, thank you for doing that. So I'll let everyone know to keep it updated and spread it on social media.
Patron did not make a guest appearance. He was the star of the show. Let's be clear.
He really was.
Oh,
Patron.
The dog really was.
sure he
He had his own pizza too. So, and I think that's going to be on the menu now. So everybody go try it.
thank you, Dawn. Do we have anyone else in the audience that would like to? We have anyone online, Karen? Oh, Susie. Go ahead. No, that's all right.
Susie Mayon, 16 Chesterfield Crossix Road. I concur with Dawn. I had some correspondence I sent before. I didn't get anything back at all. I didn't know whether the team got it or they didn't get it. It just kind of doesn't leave a warm and fuzzy. So just so you know, just additional feedback. And secondly, it sounds like the March 13th meeting is going to be more budget oriented rather than HPC oriented. Is that what I'm hearing here tonight?
I think the workshop, we're gonna start to look at the HPC.
And the workshop,
minutes, the
okay,
workshop part.
okay. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mhm.
We had every plan of doing it this meeting and then just had to, with the budget deadlines, had to move it.
I get that. I get that. I understand it right now because you're under time constraint. I've lived a little bit of this before, so I understand it totally. But I'm just trying to get a feel for the path forward. That's all.
Yeah.
I like a lot of transparency. So when you tell me something, I feel better than when you don't tell me something. Okay? So just trying to open the lines of communication, be more transparent, and, let you know, what the residents feel. So that's it. Thank you.
So, yeah, our plan is to address that, begin to address that. I don't
Yeah.
think and then the township committee meeting though that night is going to be the budget introduction.
Okay,
So
great. Thank you.
no, the people that are interested in the budget, that's when we do the public presentation of the budget.
It'll just be the introduction. It won't be the public hearing on it.
Okay, introduction.
It'll just be introduced, correct. And then you want to address Dawn's emails?
Why don't we let's. we didn't
Close your
out
public
yet,
first.
yeah.
I'm sorry.
Anyone
I
online?
thought we were done. Nobody
Take a
online.
motion to close public comment.
Second.
I want to throw this out, and I don't even want to discuss it tonight. I want to throw it out for everybody to think about. But I feel like, and I
All
want
in
to
favor?
find out.
Aye.
Oh, I'm sorry. All in favor? Aye. I feel like letters and emails that are sent to us, and I'd like to get George's feedback based on other towns and maybe look at other towns. I almost feel like maybe we should consider, and there might be pros and cons, so I'm not sure even how I feel about this, but introducing them, having a section where it's correspondence from the community. So if someone writes an email to us or a letter to us, that we have that, and we have that as an item for discussion, even if we just, so it's something I want to think about, and I want to find out how other towns handle it. So first of all, I'd like to get more information, but I think it's something, because I think sometimes we can speak for ourselves. Like if we answer an email, we're speaking only for ourselves. And I think if one person gives somebody one answer and one person gives, I just think it's adding to the confusion. So but I hear this, we get this a lot from people. And I also feel like if somebody takes the time to write us an email or write us a letter, that we should be responding. But I think we should come up with, between ourselves in a public discussion, an answer of how we were going to respond or what our decision, what our thinking is. So, but there might be a lot of downsides to that. So that's why I'm saying, I'm not like saying we should do this, but I think we should talk about how we could do that. You know what I mean? So I'd like to find out other towns do this, what would be some guidance for us on this, rather than just kind of, people coming crickets, or they're getting a response from one township committee person, which does not mean that that represents the whole.
So I think,
So, like I said, I'd like to just have
Yeah.
us think about it and discuss it at a future time.
I like what you're saying long term. Maybe I think there could be something there. But I do think in the short term, because I feel like we were in a groove on this at one point in the last
Yeah.
year or two, and we kind of fell out. And I think it was because it's not through no fault of your own, George, but I feel like there was a time where we said very directly to Tom, this is your job. When an email comes in from a resident, like if you don't hear from one of us in 24 hours that we're responding, you respond.
Yes.
So I feel like that's the issue is, again, not that any of us are trying to do anything, or not trying to neglect anyone, but I think when a message comes in to all five of us, there's probably this perception that, okay, this is a Rebecca issue, or this is a Cerrucci issue. I'm sure one of them will respond. Or,
Right.
Whereas if it's, if an email I think comes to just me or just
Oh, that's a
Cerrucci or
different
just,
situation.
then you respond. But when it comes into all five of us, we're all thinking, someone else will respond. So I think the idea of let's clarify who it is on the committee. Maybe certain subjects go to certain people. Maybe it's the mayor's job. Maybe it's, no offense, maybe it's the deputy mayor's job. Like just being clear about someone responding, because I think it's true. I mean, no matter what context, I mean, it stinks to send an email and not know whether it was received or read. But I think it just comes down to, okay, this is whose job it is, and we're all clear on that. And
Yeah, but
the response gets out.
I mean, like I said, I'm really going to talk about it now, but I think that sometimes that might be my opinion, or that might be Cerrucci's opinion, or anybody's. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean that would be the way if we had a discuss. How many times we have different people have different, and then we come to a consensus. So there is in the New Jersey Sustainable, there are guidelines, and I want to research these and talk about them with George, and then present them to that provide guidance on how to be more transparent, how township committee should function. I don't even know if this is addressed, because I haven't had a chance to sit down and look at that, but that might be an area. But like I said, I'd like to find out, like, how other towns handle this, or, you know, give us some insight, and then we can just discuss it at a future date.
Well, I can tell you that, with the way our world has changed, I can't remember the last time I got a letter really from.
Well, I'm just
I mean,
saying.
that's
Yeah.
kind of, so, emails are quick to arise. But I can tell you what I like about here is you don't have an army of people out there barraging us with complaints and with criticisms. So a lot of what I get are really heads up to us about different situations. If it's damage somewhere, if it's some dangerous situation, those are easy. I handle those. And quite frankly, I get several of the form stack notifications to me personally, and I handle them. And they're usually very factual based. How do I do this? How do I do that? The ones that come to you, I've never dealt with that type of system before. It's always been email where somebody has to specifically send the email directly to you. So I would really get copied. I think I can look through those when I see them that are going to just the committee members. If it's something fact-based that I can answer on your behalf, I gladly do that. And I'll copy all of you on the response if you want to chime in, and I'll let the person know that you were copied. If it's strictly opinionated and possibly political in nature, I can thank the person for their input and let them know that you've been made aware, but I'm really reluctant to answer and jump into those types of scenarios.
Well, I think you're right. It is a line. It is definitely a fine line. But I mean, so let's say, so instead of speaking abstractly about it, let's speak like, so Dawn's email, the email that Dawn's referencing, you were not copied on that, I assume.
But I get it automatically.
But you get it
It's
automatically.
not
Okay.
directed to me. And honestly, when I first got here, I heard that Tom used to write back to some of them. I was very reluctant, and without your permission,
No,
am
I get it.
reluctant to jump into something that's addressed to you, because I have seen responses from committee members where there are multiple recipients, and one of you will step up and answer. I don't want to conflict with you, and I don't want to jump ahead of you and be presumptuous. So, if I know my role and my rules, I'll gladly handle, what you want me to handle.
What I would
Make you aware of whatever I write.
And what I would love to see just at a minimum. So again, going back to Dawn's example, just an email to Dawn saying, thank you for writing.
Yep.
Now, any of the five of us then can email on our own something different. But I think I think we're really just talking at a bare minimum at this point of just acknowledging receipt. Yeah, I think that's it. Yeah, I wouldn't want to put you in a position to speak about it in any more depth than
I
that.
wouldn't either.
Yeah. But I do think
But
just a
anyway.
thank you for sending
Yeah,
something along those lines would be
at least
Great.
people know the email went through and got.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I
No, that is the first step.
put together language for Tom that I think he was using that maybe I could send to you.
Okay.
It's been a year or two. It probably wasn't much, but let me send that over.
Right.
And
Okay, well, maybe we could put this on the agenda at a future time.
And one other thing is, in the one town I was at, and usually it was official correspondence, but the agenda had correspondence, it had a separate
Yes.
section, and the items would be listed, particularly if they were from a neighboring town that had a change in their master plan or some other zoning amendment that would affect our residents. Those things were listed at the top of the agenda. They weren't routinely discussed, but any committee member or council member could have the opportunity to make a comment or acknowledge it. And they were really official correspondence.
Do we get much of that?
Most of it, I would say, goes to Karen.
Yeah, it's
Um,
mostly, like you said, resolutions from other towns or, them making their required public notice, or when someone applies for DEP permits or whatever, we
Yep.
get the copy here so that any of the public can come here. So that kind of stuff we do get.
Well, anyway, if everyone agrees that it's something to be worth discussing at a future meeting.
Not much to add it on.
Yeah.
I can put them on there. It's not a problem.
No, I'm saying about how, ways to handle.
I can, well, I'm away this coming week, but
No, I'm.
you want to wait?
This isn't an emergency.
Yeah, I
but
Okay. No, but I mean, when I get
Yeah.
back.
I mean, we could even put it on the agenda for the end of March. I'm not,
Okay.
yeah. I would rather get full information then. Does anybody else have anything they'd like to add at this point in time? If not, I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
We have
Executive.
Go
Executive.
into executive session.
And that'll be actually resolution. Did I write a resolution on there?
2025-2-15. So I'll take a motion so do both.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 This conference will now be recorded.
So we go back into public session.
Mm-hmm.
Aye.
Done.
And that's what we did. We need to, and we'll get a form of the conclusion that we are going to have a meeting on Wednesday, May 5th at 6 o'clock to final.
March 5th. May.
Do the same thing. April and August. They're not even next to each other.
Let's start with the MA.
You said 6 o'clock, right?
March.
Srikant, so did you hear that? May 1st? Or, no, you got me going. March.
March 5th, yes, I'll be there.
Okay.
Karen, can you just send around an email tomorrow like you did last time, just with all the meetings for the month?
Yes,
Times?
that'll be helpful.
That was invaluable.
6 o'clock.
I won't be here.
Thank you.
You're on vacation.
Have a good vacation.
Florida?
They want me back.
Say no to that.
So we just
Thank you, guys.
close the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye.
Bye.
Okay, we'll see you all next Wednesday at 5 o'clock.
Good night, guys.